Okay, so I'm not talking long, just enough that you have a new administration, you had elections. Chastity Cox is your president. Chastity Cox is your VP. Mr. Schroyer is your secretary. And the 88 Reps is your treasurer. So congratulations, thank you ladies for stepping up and keeping the student council running for another year. All right, I'm going to pray, and then I'm going to turn it over to. We have issues, we have problems, and we need to resolve. No, okay, good. Strike that from direct. All right, let's pray, and then I'm going to turn it over to Chastity. Thank you, Lord, for opportunity for these students to get together, to collaborate, to plan, to think about things they want to be able to do this year, and just bless them and just bless our time together. In Jesus' name, amen. Chastity, I'll turn it over to you.
Hello. Okay, so we are going to need to talk about fundraisers because, we also, I think first though, we need to talk about what we want to do with the money because last year we didn't do a senior class trip, but you're the only senior here taking part in this. So, do you have any priorities that you want to make sure happen?
No.
Do you care about Wilds?
I don't know too much about it. I know that that's what they've been doing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
Are you graduating alone?
I hope not.
No, he's not. So I'll just butt in here because I always butt in.
Yeah.
We have probably, I'd say, at least 5 seniors who will be in-house, actually graduating, potentially more. It depends. We have a couple folks from out of state. But I'm going to be reaching out to them. We have a unusual situation this year. We don't have any seniors in leadership because there was an interest, apparently. But that's okay. So we're basically considering the senior class. I mean, you're here, Tim, and we're very glad you're here. So we will have there will still be a senior class subcommittee. And Tim, by definition of being a senior, you're on that committee along with everybody else. And you guys will still be responsible for coordinating the details of your graduation and those sorts of things. And if you want to do, if the student council decides to coordinate some sort of trip that includes seniors, like the Wilds, which historically has been open to both juniors and seniors, then you would be invited to participate, but you would have to participate in the fundraising in order to participate at student council cost in the trip, if that makes sense. There's sometimes seniors will come at their own cost on the trip if it's happening, but so if that gives any context.
Yeah. So, if you're interested in the Wilds, you should look into that to figure out. That is $240 a student for the week, and then parent sponsors or adult sponsors, chaperones, whatever they're called, $140 each. So our
we usually send one of each, a mom and a
So
dad.
that's 100 or 100
140.
140 for adult chaperones.
Yeah. And does the student council cover the adult chaperones? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we didn't go to the Wild last year. So.
Is everyone driving it on their own, or because it's in Carolina?
Yeah. So the way if you were to do a trip like the Wilds, you would coordinate with WCFS staff like me or Gary, and we would coordinate going down, carpooling in one vehicle. That's historically how it's been
Maybe
done.
borrow a van or something.
Yep. Just depends on how many people are going, and the costs of gas and that sort of thing, of course, are factored into the expenses of the trip. So.
Okay. So we have to work through details like that, figure out our total cost that would cost us. Our current funds right now are $652.11. So that's from collective years before. So taking that into consideration, last graduation we spent almost nothing. So graduation, if we're going to do the same kind of thing, like the student council didn't spend anything. The parents did, and they just donated. But if we're going to do that kind of thing again, then we don't really, like, we shouldn't have to do a lot of fundraising specifically for that.
And if I can just butt in again, because I told you guys, I told the administration this, and this is something I still have to remember. So, seniors, you guys pay, for seniors who are listening, Tim, always pay a graduation fee, okay? And a portion of that and that is entirely separate apart from anything that the student council does, okay? So that fee always has been intended to help cover the costs of graduation, okay? So you know, in the last 2 years, a huge cost has been defrayed by having it here at the church in school, because there's not been a rental facility or a rental fee. So basically, again, because you have a unique situation where the majority of you, almost the entirety of you who are active in the student council this year are not seniors, to try to help give you incentive to continue to participate in fundraisers, because historically the student council funds have always helped with graduation expenses if there's been a need. So based on the graduation fees that have already been paid, there's already an allocated $500 that's going to help cover any graduation costs this year, okay? So, and Mr. Cox and I have decided that if there is any additional expenses on top of that, 10% of whatever the student council has in its general fund can help with those costs. Having said that, what Chastity just said, you know, you can probably keep, I mean, the senior class, and I'm going to be talking with them, you know, it shouldn't be too difficult to pull off a graduation here within that budget. So that leaves it pretty wide open for you guys to focus your attention on stuff that you would like to do. If you want to focus on a class trip specifically, if you want to do the wilds or something like that, you have, you know, you're not looking at having to put a lot into graduation. Hopefully not anything, but not more than 10% of what you raise.
So the senior class trip is open to juniors and seniors. So we have 4 of us here. We have juniors and seniors. And out of you 4, like, how many of you are interested?
In the wilds.
In the wilds, yeah. What perspective you got?
Did you want to describe the wilds for those who may not have been there before?
Oh yeah, so the Wild is like a Christian camp. It's in North Carolina. It's basically, it's like a youth camp where you get, like, they have senior classes from Christian schools, private schools, who come and spend a week there, and there are activities like giant swings and whitewater rafting and climbing walls maybe. Like, I haven't actually done it myself, but there's zip lines and stuff like that, and then they have sessions where you're taught from a certain passage of scripture over the week. And yeah, Kirsten, you send out a link to the senior class link on the Wilds website, so that they can have that. Yeah, everyone that's been there has said it's really awesome. So, yeah. Oh yeah, so out of the juniors and seniors here, who is definitely interested, like, in looking at it? Okay. Are you a junior?
I have no clue.
Okay. I was like, that's cool.
What makes a junior? You're a
I
sophomore.
think you're a sophomore, Isaiah.
12th and 11th.
If I was a junior, I'd be interested.
Yeah. So, okay. And then you're only able to participate in the student council funds and use student council funds to fund the senior class trip, or the junior senior class trip, if you participate in fundraisers. So, yeah.
So like in other words, if you don't donate, you don't go. Kind of.
You
Yeah.
guys familiar with the little red hen? Story of the little red hen?
No.
Oh man, come on. What are you, a bunch of homeschoolers? Just kidding.
I feel
So the story of the little red hen is she's the goes that she finds the grain. She's like, I got the wheat. Who will help me? Who will help me beat out the wheat?
Yeah.
And everybody says, no. And then she goes through the whole process of baking bread, and she pulls the bread out of the oven,
Oh yeah. Oh, we have some.
and she makes her point and says,
Everyone's hands up.
who's going to help me eat the bread? And everybody go ahead puts their hands up, and she says, nah, you didn't help, you don't eat. Okay, that's the whole concept.
Okay.
We're trying to encourage you to participate.
Okay. Okay, so for fundraisers, do you guys have any ideas that we could do? 'Cause so we've done bake sales in the past, we've done citrus sales, we have done silent auctions, candy bar sales. Like, do you guys have any ideas or questions?
Like car washes are always good.
Yeah, car washes.
Like a yard sale or whatever. I'm not sure
Oh,
where
yeah.
it would be, but
we can do it in housing actually.
Yeah.
Just set it up.
we could even do it here. Like everybody
want
brings
it.
their stuff and we could like set it up, you know, back here. I don't know.
I just said that.
And Debbie, Steve, go ahead. You had a
Just
question.
a quick question. Now, when you're talking about $240 for, let's say, seniors or juniors, or you're talking about $140 for adult chaperones, now you're talking about the full cost, right? Would that normally be the full cost before any funds from fundraisers to be applied?
So this is like with the Wilds. This is what they charge. So the student council funds would cover $240. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the $240 if the student wanted to go. So the student council would cover this cost.
So for
If
That's
So
provided
per
you participate in
student,
the
it's
fundraiser.
$240 per student. Per student.
And then, of course, there's the cost, let's say, like gas and other items.
Right.
Is this like a one-day trip down where you,
No.
or is it 2 days where you stay at a hotel?
it's a week. It's a week long. You go down Monday morning. You get back Friday, or you
Oh,
leave Friday.
Okay, I guess what I'm asking is this, is like the initial trip down was just like a one long day
Oh.
trip?
It's,
Yeah.
You
it's
stay there
about
for
8
a
hours.
week, one long day trip back?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
What about people like me who are going to help a lot but can't really get much of the
Yeah.
profit?
We've had this.
Right, so comment on that. You know, there is a certain amount of discrepancy that happens, and if you look at, although, let me put it to you this way, Chastity and Charity and some of the others, Kirsten, you guys have been involved, Adia, you've been involved, you know, for a couple years now. Student council has $650 in the bank. That's the work and effort that you've done over the last, couple of years. So, first of all, you are participating by building up a nest egg, if you will, for future funds. So there is incentive to continue to make funds available. Even if you don't go this year, you're helping add to the budget for the next year. So that's that. The other thing too is, Chastity, you're talking about this particular trip. Depending on how much funds you raise, you might have the ability to do something else as well.
Yeah.
It also depends how many people are going. If you only have 4 people going, or 3 people going, and let's say only 2 of those people have actually actively participated in fundraising, you might have a couple people who still pay out of pocket. So bottom line is you might have some flexibility to do potentially some other things that would involve everybody in the student council. I mean, last year we went to DC, and that was open to everybody in the student council, and that was a pretty minimum cost trip. So, that's something to keep in mind. But
Right. Okay. Kirsten, do you have a question?
We can do a picnic day again. That was fun.
oh, that was the other thing I was going to just shout out there. Is just a reminder of what your schedule is like. You've got, you've got the mid-year's meeting in January that you could potentially do a fundraiser at. I would actually strongly encourage you to consider doing a meeting there because of two reasons. One is everybody comes, or at least a lot of people come. It's also a mandatory seniors meeting, so the seniors have to be here. So you might rope in some seniors to actually helping out. So last year we did a Chick-fil-A fundraiser, which, you know, I think the sense was, it wasn't bad. I think you might be able to do better in terms of doing some other stuff. Anyway, so you've got that. You've got another workshop in January. So you got the mid-year meeting. You got a workshop in January. You got a workshop in February. You got a workshop in March. So those are opportunities. And then Kirsten, yes, as far as I know, we will probably be doing something similar to what we did last year with the expo and picnic. It will be here. As far as we know from Machi, they're not doing the homeschool fair again. So those are kind of your target events. And if you want to do something obviously outside of those, you certainly can. If you wanted to do a car wash or some other deal. So those are kind of your structure. Those are your planned events that you could do a fundraiser and coincide with an event.
Okay. Workshop specifically, we haven't done fundraisers there in the last couple of years. I know before they would do bake sales with like little brownies or Rice Krispie treats or something like that. Does anybody have interest in doing that? Like, do you think, I want to get your input, like, do you think that would be a productive fundraiser? Because the amount of people that come, like the kind of people that come, do you think they actually buy those kind of things?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we can do that. Does anybody have any interest in bringing the baked good to workshops?
I can, if I remember to come.
Check your calendar, Kirsten, your calendar.
I don't have
I
one.
mean,
There's
I
one on the
can't
website.
speak for my mom. If we do go, she isn't like excellent baker.
Okay.
She used to do wedding cakes and all that stuff. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
so I can ask her if she could bake some stuff.
Okay,
If
that'd
we
be
go.
helpful, yeah.
If we
Okay.
Just
So,
build a bar shop. Bake sale.
I said, so are we mainly selling the stuff to the parents here, or is it like for other people?
it would be just for people who are here,
Okay.
yeah. And I think to make it easiest, we'd like if you brought something, you'd bring your little sign that says how much it is, and then I'd bring over like, or 80 actually, she's a treasurer. She'd bring over this little can for like all the money, but yeah. So yeah, if you bring some, make sure there's a little sign how much it is, and like individually packaged things and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's a good plan. For mid-years, wait, do you have a question?
No, I forgot what I was going to write.
For mid-years, we had Chick-fil-A fundraiser last year. I think because Chick-fil-A is already like on the pricey side, we had to up the prices like a lot. So we were selling like subs or meals for like $10, and it was like painful. So I mean, I know it's a fundraiser, but still, like Chick-fil-A for 10, that's kind of, anyway. I think it would be best to do maybe sub sale again. Do you guys have any thoughts?
There was one time in the past, I don't know when, I think it was Zane's group, but they bought like hot corn dogs and they had stuff and like chips and stuff. So we could just do that and get drinks and sell
Okay.
it. We can also do those subs that we do at the
From GT?
yeah.
Okay. And we could do chips and things on it.
And I price Sanders too.
Okay. So check out DTs and Sanders and Kirsten
Wait, what?
for the sub sale. Like figure out how much each one costs. Well, just make a note of that and we can fix
What's the
it.
price?
GTs and Sanders.
Those are shops.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, what I was thinking about is this, is any type of a fundraiser where it's, let's say, either baked goods or food or something like that, maybe even like a chili dinner where, you know, you have chili, you have cornbread, you have salad, that type of thing, where everything is I say donated, and where there's a charge for the actual meal, something of that nature, that I think is the best way to go as opposed to, let's say like Chick-fil-A where you have to purchase items from Chick-fil-A and then increase the price enough to make it worthwhile in terms of a fundraiser. But yeah, either, it could be bake sale and like a potluck dinner that was something that people would have to pay for, but everything was donated in terms of the food items, and everything would be obviously prepared.
Right. Okay.
He has a point.
Yeah, that's a really good.
Yeah. Because I don't know like how good anyone here is at cooking, but like we could like cook it and then like we would have to pay for like the materials to make it, but we wouldn't really have to
It'd be a
pay
lot
someone else
cheaper.
to make it for us. Cause
Yeah, except,
They would
so,
just be paying for the thing to be.
yeah,
instead of
yeah. So I know that the subs we got for the conference, a family leadership conference, those were priced at like $1 each or something like that.
what
like
subs were they?
crazy low. They were from a shop up near Roxbury, so I don't know. I don't think we could do that shop again, but if it's something like that cheap, it might be like comparable to just buy it. So we have to look at that too. Yeah, but room for expo. Last year we did a silent auction, and it went like well, but
What is this silent auction?
so they had these little like books stuff like that they've been trying to get rid of, and like a Chick-fil-A gift card, and your mom brought some crocheted things, and people just placed bids on them like on a piece of paper, and then the highest bidder won. So that was that.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
If you do that, just make sure you, I think it probably would have been more successful if you had a little more time to publicize it
Yes.
and actually get some real wow. I mean, you did have a couple wow items, like we had tickets to the museum and the Bible and
Right.
the Creation Museum and stuff like that, but if you can get some pretty, just publicize it, that's something that you can do. And the nice thing about that is if you have people who donate, and that's the other big way you can do it, is you reach out to people who are interested in donating,
Good.
and then go from there, because then you get maximum out of it.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna say, to kind of put together all the different ideas. The silent auction really is a good way to go, where you have it really well presented. You can go to all different types of businesses, ask for donations. Or even if people have, items at their home that maybe are new items, or maybe they're vintage items like antiques or something like that, where you might want someone to bid on them. You just have them on a table in a room or something like that, if that's what it takes. And then, of course, as you're saying, for the young man over there, what you do is usually have a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You have lines on the paper, and people just progressively bid up the price on that given item, from the first line to the second to the third to the 10th line, or however many people actually bid on it. And then they say how much they want to bid. And then the person, of course, who's last on the paper is the one who generally receives the item, unless there's like a last minute bid or something, which can be asked for. But then someone at the end of, let's say, the evening announces the winners. But before they announce the winners, they say, would anyone like to bid a higher price on this item or that item? And so you kind of bring it all together at the end of the evening. But I've done that before, and yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Do you?
Yes, I told Jared last year, but apparently he doesn't listen to me. Anyways, care baskets. You can just go to the store and get like a box of like shampoos or like soap or something, like little care baskets that people would actually want. And the bid can start around $25 for the care baskets.
Right. Okay. So, are you thinking of for the silent auction or like? Okay. Okay. Let's put that down. Yeah. So. Okay. Does anybody else have any other brainstorming ideas for fundraisers? So we have stuff like car washes and stuff like that.
Again, on the idea of the fundraisers, whether you talk about, let's say, silent auction, bake sale, anything like that, bottom line is, it needs to be a venue or a location where a lot of people can easily access the location, so you have a large number of people potentially that would be able to come. And that would be important. Maybe it might be like a larger church, that type of thing, that might be in the area, that might be willing to host it, you know, for free or something like that.
And then also advertising is key.
Oh, absolutely. Social media as well as regular advertising.
Do we have an Instagram account?
Let's make one today.
I can have an Instagram. Yeah. Yeah, the answer is no, not actively, but it's not hard for me to do one.
Okay. I was
The difficulty with the Instagram for us as a school is you can't link to anything through Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
However, if you guys do your advertising right, I certainly can put a picture of information about a silent auction on Instagram. So,
Okay.
and
We can make a student council Instagram page. Yeah.
So you know the schools that like give their students boxes of chocolate and services. But none of you have been okay. Anyways, I just realized so like the schools give the students boxes of chocolate. They're like $2, and then the students just hand up the chocolate and you just get the money back, and then they get the money. Once they like sell all their chocolate, they just get the money over to the school. And it's a small box, and you can take it anywhere. It's about 25 like chocolate
I've
bars.
heard of that before.
And
yeah,
or you
Kirsten,
can do like
those of us who played Little
Dropbox
League
too.
also know about that,
Who what?
even if we didn't go to public school.
Yeah.
yeah,
I bought chocolate.
yeah. But you guys have friends, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been out, we've been around.
I have
You guys go outside, right?
I have a lot. There's like a lot of people there, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, just a reminder on that. You know, we have done something like that. I mean, you guys did a citrus sale and a bake sale, which is very similar concept. And just the reminder is, it takes time. You know, you either have to, like Mr. Krupar say, know where you're going. I mean, if you have the ability to go to church and bring stuff like that along, that's great. But it does, the thing with the citrus sale and the bake sale is just, it's still up to you to go get the customers. So,
It's easier than carrying around a bunch of bread.
Yeah.
true,
Yeah.
true. So,
I always have that little kid who wants a piece of
I
chocolate.
know.
So he's like, Mom, can I buy a piece of
Yeah,
chocolate?
exactly. Little kids,
Yes.
just eat off of them.
Yeah, that does. Plus, I'm sure they're more likely to buy like a piece of candy than like a $7 loaf of bread.
Hey, yeah.
Because then they like to think about it. They're like, $7? Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, just a couple of thoughts about citrus sale. My son Caleb was involved in the Boy Scouts for many years, basically about a decade or so. And they had citrus sales all the time. What they used to do is they used to have professional door knockers actually made up. They used to comb neighborhoods, for example, in Bowie where we live, I mean by the hundreds and hundreds of homes, probably several thousand door knockers were put out. What would be the case, you have all your information on the door knockers, that type of thing. That's one way to reach out to the public. Also at different churches we did reach out, as well as the host church for the actual troop itself. Then on top of that, you want to make sure that your fruit is being bought from a vendor that has good quality fruit, because we had great years and then we had poor years where the quality was not there or the quality was there. So those are some considerations.
Okay. Does anybody have any interest in doing a citrus sale this year?
That's where you just sell fruit,
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah, I think the difficult part is like that you guys live out somewhere in your project, so it's like, well, it's hard to get the citrus to everyone. I think that's been the hardest part in these years. But last year we did a bake sale, and we just like each of us made our own bread, and we brought that to wherever we were selling them, and that earned a lot because it was donated by the families, at least ours was. So, Does anybody have any interest in doing a bake sale? It would be like,
Yes, but not like particularly. Like not seasonal bread, maybe like brownies and cookies and like cupcakes or whatever.
He has a point. Christmas season and Thanksgiving is coming up, and that's usually the big time for cookies and brownies and that stuff. So if someone took the time to get them, then we could send them out in those tiny, tiny plates.
right. Yeah, I don't know, like, because that's what I was saying, like, it's hard to get the same thing to everybody. So, if we all made our own, then that would be, a lot easier. Yeah. So, does that make sense? Alright. Do you need to try it?
What?
Never mind.
Never mind. I'm sorry, I'm kind of distracted right now.
Okay, so we have for our brainstorming ideas, we have car wash, we have workshop, bake sales, we have expo, we have silent auction and candy sale, and then we have for New Year's our sub sale, and then what was the other thing? I think it was yeah.
Okay, so what we have is sub sales, potluck dinners, at the mid-year fundraiser, the expo fundraiser, which is the silent auction, and then we have. Are we still with the flea market? The yard sale.
I don't. Let's just keep it.
What? Okay.
Keep it.
We have car wash, the bake sale, also for the workshops, and then the bake sale individually, and then the chocolate boxes and the citrus sale. Oh, and then the paper cake. But I don't think they.
Okay. So let's talk about the chocolate boxes and figure out if that's something that we could do. So for that, how many people have venues where they're able to just bring chocolate boxes and sell? Like, how possible is that?
That's like super possible in our
Just think it's like 4 boxes.
Well,
I don't know how possible that would be for us. Like, I'm thinking like.
You could have like 2 boxes. You need a box for every child.
Yeah.
If you give it to a church or whatever, do you have to ask permission? Would you know, Mr. Bill? Like if you have to ask permission to sell?
So
I think it
Probably need
probably just depends on, there's no harm in asking your church leadership about it. But, I mean, if you're gonna hop up on the pulpit after he's done preaching and say, I've got a box of Reese's Pieces back in the foyer, just drop in your coins as you shake the pastor's hand, probably you should talk to him about it. But if you're just bringing it and talking to your friends, I don't think there's gonna be any problem with that.
So how do you get these boxes? Do you like order them online or what?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. So just like.
Yeah, I was gonna look it up. I'm sure the companies that you can just order amount of boxes and hand them out to the students.
Right.
You- You also could talk to your parents. I have worked in places where I have seen employees bring in stuff for their kids and circulate it around their business people.
I go to work with
I
my
feel
mom
like
all the
that's
time. I
cheating.
can do it.
You feel like that's cheating?
Yeah, because like your parents are doing all your fundraising for you.
I could do it. I go to work with my
Well,
mom.
That's true.
And so that
In this case that I saw, all he did is he brought it and he set it down in the lunchroom with a sign. And that was it.
Yeah, I'll just sell it to them.
So,
and say,
I mean, if you're doing a box of candy, I mean, a box of candy is a box of candy.
Then you have a bunch of HOA.
Okay, so let's look into that.
and then you give the company a certain percentage, right?
No, so you pay for the boxes individually. They're usually like $2 or $3, and then you keep the money that you get from the chocolate box. They're about $1 chocolate and
Okay. So we have that. And then I'm thinking, so Tim, you were mentioning the bake sale would be more of a seasonal thing, or would be spread out over the year?
I mean, it can be both, but I think you'll get more responses during the holidays. Just because that's when everybody's spending more money than usual in the year.
Okay. So, okay, let's do this then. Since this is our last meeting before Christmas and Thanksgiving and all, let's go ahead and, so I need to show of hands how many people are going to be able to do this bake sale and sell each thing. Say if you're doing a loaf of bread, let's do like $7, let's see how. If you're doing a plate of brownies. Mr. Joel, do you think each student should just decide their price that they want to sell for?
Well, the only problem with doing that is that it keeps advertising difficult.
Oh, that's true.
If you have a universal price that everybody knows that they can pay, then it's. But I would encourage trying to keep it as cheap as you can.
Right. Okay, then I'll send out an email later with prices of certain things. So we have, what's it called? Like the sweetbreads, like pumpkin and cinnamon swirl, and I think we've done lemon blueberry in the past. And then some brownies, and then anything else you guys want to sell?
Like, I don't know, like pumpkin spice cookies or like something like that.
Okay. So we could do like a plate of brownies or plate cookies. And then I'll just figure out like how much they're selling for other places and then give us a fundraising price for that. And then based on an email, then you guys can start like telling your friends or whoever. Yeah.
Question, where would the bake sale take place?
Each person will do that individually because we live so far apart.
Oh, I see what you're saying, like
Yeah.
at our own church or whatever the
Yeah.
case is.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying, all right. Okay, I see.
And then you just give the money back to the school, student council.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
I think it would be easier that way because, I mean, I don't know how far or how close to the city you guys live, but you could always just ask neighbors, and then we kind of live in the heart of the city, so there's like always somebody around that you can ask. So I think it's better that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Then we're gonna do that, and then next workshop. Anybody who has goodies to bring, you can bring that. And
Goodies as in money or?
brownies and cookies.
Yeah, the money you made from the bake sale, you probably should.
Yeah,
bring
and
that.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta go. Okay, so
And as Edie is leaving, she is your treasurer.
yes, so you're
So-
gonna take care of my money stuff.
She is. Do not come to me about money. Go to Adia, and Adia will come to me about money.
No sticky fingers.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Adia.
Okay. So for car washes, I know those take a lot of time to repair and stuff like that. I haven't done one since I've been in the student council, like the student council hasn't done one. So I feel like that would kind of be really hard for me to pull off as the president, and it might not do very well because I don't know what I'm doing. So, yeah. Do you have any thoughts? Because you're the one that mentioned it. Or,
Well, I just know in the past years that they, like I know my brother, they had, and it seemed like it was a really big turnout, but then you have to advertise, and you have to, get a parking lot, water, all that, so it might be a little bit hard, but I was just throwing out there as like a suggestion, so.
okay. Yeah. Does anybody really want to do the car wash? Or what? Yeah. I feel like that's a big problem. Like, you guys are involved in that. Yeah.
so that was probably a bad one.
No, that's okay. You're
So
brainstorming.
just as a reminder, you know, you just have to think about yourselves as different animals. You're not a traditional school, but that doesn't mean that you can't come up with creative and good ideas. And I'm hearing creative and good ideas. So the car wash is kind of a more standard. When you have a central group of people like a church or a school, it is easier to do. And yeah, Jeremiah did a lot of prep last year on the car wash. We actually had one planned, and then we ended up canceling it because of, I don't remember the reasons why, but no. But it just, you know, there are some logistical things that are difficult for you guys. And the big one is you're spread out. So you know, you could do a car wash at the mid-years meeting in January and wash everybody's car here, but that's just not really going to be feasible. For one thing, it's going to be too cold.
Yeah.
So you could do it, but I think your cost is probably going to be way more than what you would make.
I know we could potentially lose more than we gain because there might not be a lot after we put loads of money into it. We don't really get a lot back.
Right.
So
Don't
it's
we
like
pay for
risky.
the water?
Not here. Yeah, it depends on the place. But,
Yeah, you had to go get it in buckets and bring it up from
yeah.
the spring.
Okay. So I think this wraps up what I want to talk about. So we have these fundraisers planned out, and then we're doing the bake sale and the goodies at workshop, and then the bake sale over Christmas, and then yeah. Is there anything else to cover?
The mid-year fundraiser?
Mid-year fundraiser. Okay, so that is in January. Is there a meeting before the mid-year conference?
There's not,
No.
but you could,
So the mid-year
you could
is
potentially investigate some of those options and coordinate over email.
So
right.
the question: if we're to bring like goodies or whatever next workshop, are we gonna work out like a price now, or are you gonna email it to us?
Well, we need the treasurer for that, actually, because she's the treasurer.
Yeah.
But
Adia doesn't have to set your prices for you,
Yeah.
but she's the one who keeps track of
The money.
the expenses
Yeah.
that you are putting into it, and so on. So yeah,
Okay.
you're definitely going to keep her in the loop of what's going on, but you as a student council are the ones who decide what you want to set the price at.
Right. So or yeah.
One question. Is the candy chocolate thing happening? I mean, there was
She's gonna look in
do
the
research.
Yeah. I think if we do that, it'll probably like be finalized at our January meeting,
Yeah.
and then we can figure it out.
Sounds like that you actually have a pretty wide open period of time to do that. So that's what's really appealing about
I
that.
mean, you can even do it through the summer, technically.
Well,
For like money.
that's right, because who cares about the seniors?
Okay.
And technically, Kirsten, you kind of want to have everything wrapped up for your class for May. Oh, did you tell them when the senior class trip is?
I was gonna
For the
ask
wilds?
you because I saw there were several dates on their website. Do we have a certain one reserved?
Yeah, generally it's the
Wild?
last one in May, if I'm not mistaken. It's
Okay.
generally right before graduation. It's like the week before graduation.
Are we talking about the wild?
Talking about the wild. I think
Last
there's
year it was in June.
Yeah.
in June.
Yeah, because Jeremiah gave us like.
Oh, well, I think the one that he was talking about was there's another one that they do after the senior class trip that's more extensive.
No, he was talking about that one. That was the only last trip. And then we ended up not doing it because not a lot of people around the
Okay, well, I'm puzzled because I was involved in helping with some of that, but
Yeah.
I don't think the senior class trip goes into June. I'm pretty sure the last one they run is in May.
Okay, maybe
is there any other homeschool group we might be able to partner with, or groups that might have similar age students who might also want to just join us as a group on the trip?
I mean, like,
I think
That would be something to look at, just uniting with a couple other homeschool
but
groups.
I do know that my grandfather, Mr. Cox, has said in the past it's exclusive to Wellspring students
Oh, okay.
because of the nature of the benefits that.
Which you might do, Chastity.
Yeah.
And I can help you with this. We do have an affiliate
Okay.
in Westminster,
Right.
so it might be worth
Reaching out.
talking with them. So we can talk more about that
Okay.
with Mrs. Davis.
Okay, so I'm gonna send an email with details of prices that we're gonna sell each thing for later, and then you guys can get going on that. And yeah, and I'll send details about the wilds. And then, do we have? So I need the emails, but do you have them? Emails for this?
I have yours. I have Ariana's. I have Kirsten's.
we collected theirs, right?
Yeah, and I think Tim and Isaiah and Barry, you guys are just using your families,
No,
right?
I have one. I have one now. I just didn't remember it.
Okay.
I do have it though.
You want to write it down?
Yeah.
Go ahead, write it down and give it to Kirsten for you.
I have one.
Wait, you're supposed to be writing all the emails.
I didn't last year because Jeremiah did everything. I'm like, okay.
I know. Oh, I forgot. Okay.
Well, just remember, you guys figure it out in terms of the responsibilities for
Thank you.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
Well, I think that concludes what I was saying. So.
Okay. Thank you, President Cox.
Successful first meeting.
Okay, so does the Vice President have anything to say?
So.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Speech.
She's my better half.
Any other members of the student council have anything they would like to discuss, bring up? Whatever the president tells you to do.
Don't tell me to say something.
All right. Okay. If there's anything else, I'm gonna just say, wrap it up. Did you guys think anything about the question I asked you last month?
What was the question
What
about?
was the question last month?
Oh yeah, someone
here
would
last
say
month?
to us something that someone would say.
Okay, so let me set it up for you because this really happened. So my wife has a cousin who posted on Facebook. I can't remember when it was, several months ago. And he said, it went something like this. He quoted from the Lord's Prayer, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Question mark, question mark, question mark. And then in the comment section, there were some people who kind of were chiming in and saying, yeah, this place is just ridiculous. Like, and the idea was, he was saying, if God's will is supposed to be done on earth and as it is in heaven, why is the earth so messed up? Why is it so awful? Why is it so terrible? Why do bad things happen? People ask the question in a lot of different ways, but that's what he was saying. Is why is life so hard? Okay, so the answer, so if someone asked you that question, you know, God made the world and it stinks. What would you say? Kirsten, what would you say?
Actually, God made the world perfectly. It was sin who destroyed it, and then people were born sinners, and they just sinned. And so actually, the world is perfect. It's just the sin in it. That's all.
Okay, so what you're saying is the world as we see it is not how God intended it.
Yeah, because
And where do you get such a notion?
Genesis.
Okay.
Because God looked at everything He created, He saw it was good.
Right. So
And then the fall of man.
So what you're saying, Kirsten, is it would be like looking at this lovely picture here, and I did this to it.
Yeah, that'd be your sin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you're looking at that picture and you're like, that's not a nice picture.
No.
It's ugly.
It actually kind of looks better.
It's messed up.
Fix it. Yeah, I tried.
Yeah.
Can you fix it?
I'd buy it. No.
Okay,
That's something I'm
so bottom line is, so what was Jesus saying when he prayed the Lord's Prayer?
He was asking.
Thy will be done on earth as it is in
He
heaven.
was asking God if the earth could be like this.
He was drawing a contrast, wasn't it? Because do people ordinarily do God's will?
I mean,
So there are a couple answers to that, but just sticking with what we're talking about today, no, we don't have a desire in and of ourselves to do what God wants us to do, right? That's what you were saying, Kirsten. The sin nature in our world messes a lot of things up. Okay, so basically what my wife was able to write back to her cousin was, well, so what exactly are you meaning? It sounds like you're not quite understanding what that prayer means. Jesus wasn't saying that we're living on heaven on earth. No, we're not. No, life is hard. So what's the hope? If a friend says, okay, well that doesn't really help me out, you've explained why it's messed up, but why doesn't God fix it? What's the answer?
I died for us.
He's giving you the option that you're like, if you want to be fixed, here's the option. But you can't force people because of free volition
Yeah.
to be
Gave us-
fixed. So, in the sense that the earth is like heaven, in the sense that you have the option to be,
To accept Christ. To
sinless.
be saved.
Yeah.
It's because
Jesus-
of free will.
Jesus, so if you become a Christian and you trust God, does that mean you're not going to have any problems?
no,
You might have more.
But you become the body of Christ.
Okay.
And
So
not
Je-
the body.
What did Jesus say? He said, in the world you will have tribulation because you lived in a messed up world. You live in a messed up picture. It's just how it is. And when you become a follower of Jesus, you compound some of that trouble because you now have the world, the flesh, and the devil against you. However, what's the hope? Jesus said, in the world you have tribulation, but don't be afraid, because what? I have overcome the world. So through Christ, we have the ability to go through those difficulties and see the bigger picture. And of course, well, you're right, no, let's see if it'll work. One day, God will do this, won't he?
There you go.
After the resurrection.
He's going to fix it. He's already begun fixing it through Jesus. One day, the whole world will be redeemed. It will be purified. There will be a new heaven and a new earth. Things will be as they should be. So, all right, important stuff. Life is hard, but God is bigger. All right, very good. You're dismissed.